Hey there, Capricorn. Welcome to my channel, Alchemist 8. Justin here, and I hope you had a great week so far. So what I'm going to be doing is a tarot card reading for the week of October 9th through the 15th. And for those of you new, which I know is all of you, but tell your friends still, this is going to be a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me. Never force a reading on a situation, okay? So, on that note, let's go ahead and get into that reading. Cleansed your space. All the gems are here. We are ready to rock. I'm going to be pulling 15 cards. They're going to be in 5 groups of 3. The middle group is going to represent the nature of your problem. The upper left and upper right hand corner are going to be some possible future outcomes that you might be experiencing. The bottom left is going to be kind of where your headspace is at, or some perspectives to consider when dealing with the nature of this problem. And then lastly, the bottom right is going to be how your higher self is playing behind the scenes. So with that being said, and if you're curious, I'm using the Aleister Crowley's Thoth deck. The imagery on this deck is super awesome, so I'll make sure to hold that up so that you can get with it. Woof. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into your reading. Get your cards pulled in here. This is not a bad, I will say before we get into it, looking at your problem, this is not a bad problem to have, Capricorn. Okay. Yeah, this is not bad at all. Some of you, okay. Bam, and last but not least. Okay. Alright, allow me to just let's look over here, get everything all nice and neat for you. Let's see what's going on with Capricorn this week. Thank you, higher self. Always appreciate you. Alright. So, and try not to rub it in everybody's face. The nature of your problem is the 9 of disc, and the cards that came paired with it are the Prince of disc and the Ace of disc. So I feel like this week we are thinking about business. We are focusing on disc energy, have to deal with finances, business, things like that. So I think we're really, or you really think about your finances this week. With the 9 of disc, maybe you're thinking about going on a new venture, starting up, figuring out how you can maybe make some, I feel like this could even be like, maybe some passive income you might be looking into. But I feel like you are trying to get your abundance in order, in a sense. With this 9 of wands here, or excuse me, 9 of disc here. And I think that, I feel like who better to do it than a Capricorn? Because Capricorns are hard workers. Like a majority of a good chunk of my friends have Capricorn somewhere. There's sun, moon, rising. I don't even want to look at their other stuff. But they have a lot of earth in the chart. So the princes, my point with that is the princes and the queens, I don't think you have any. Oh, no, we got one queen. But the princes and queens can represent people. I don't really like to attach gender to them. This is, I feel like this is, take it as it applies. But if it's you or this person, regardless, they bring like a, they're very responsible. They bring like a managerial vibe. They're going to, the Prince of Disc is, he's, I don't know, I feel like of the princes, he's the one that's got his shit most together. And not to say that the other princes don't bring something to the table, but his deal is that he's all about stability. He's going to persevere. He's going to very patient in his stuff. He's not a stranger of, playing the long game, investing, sowing those seeds and watching them grow so that it can become this Ace of disc. And I think that's maybe if you're trying to turn like something that was I don't know why I'm getting side hustle here, but I feel like either you're trying to turn something into your main form of finances, or you're trying to start something just to I'm getting just like you're trying to get as many streams of income as possible with these cards, because this is a lot of when you have like elements like suits kind of lining up with that, they enhance each other. And the fact that you got three of them here, it's just like bring your umbrella because it's about to start raining and raining abundance is what, and that's what I'm getting. But I feel like it is going to, and I say that, but I also follow that up with abundance doesn't just fall out of the sky. This is, this. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just sit up on your chariot all pretty and people just throw money at you? Um, but he's still working. This guy, and I don't think he's not working hard. He's not stressed by any means. But he's got everything. He's got his shit figured out. So I feel like this week, yeah, yeah, we're focusing on getting our finances in check. We're trying to, and you know what? Once you get that order, make sure to treat yourself. And I don't necessarily mean like buying a bunch of things. Whatever abundance looks like for you, make sure to enjoy that as well. You want to, I feel like the mantra of this year should be work smart, play smart. We've been working hard, playing hard for a long time, and doesn't seem to. It's fun. It's fun for a little while. It's fun. I feel like it's fun when you're younger, but I feel like when you get old, it's time. Or when you get older, it's time to work smart and time to start playing smart. So that's kind of what I'm getting here. I won't spend too much on time. I'm like, you're bragging over here. I'm not spending too much time on this. You see the abundance coming. You know what? And that's funny that I had mentioned that. So that's kind of perfect. That leads. We're gonna go over here for a second. So for some of you, I'm moving to the future now. On the right hand side, we pulled the well, you didn't pull. You're chilling. I pulled the Three of Swords, the Queen of Cups, and the Two of Cups. So with some of you here, I feel like something's weighing down on your head. The Three of Swords is about it's about sorrow, kind of melancholy. Maybe disappointment. It's kind of about sadness, and maybe with this, I'm feeling like with this, maybe you have been thinking a lot about this. This Nine of Disc here, and how you're going to approach about it. And it might be kind of overwhelming. It's like, I know sometimes it's, especially with, I'm not super on social media, but it's like when you go on there, you're getting the best clips of everybody's life. You're not seeing that in between stuff. And I feel like this Three of Swords here, this is that in between stuff. Where when you're by yourself and you're just like, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this? How am I going to, bring this to fruition? And I feel like with the Three of Cups, I think that, the Three of Swords, I'm looking at the cups. I feel like with this Three of Swords, I don't think this is going to last, because I feel like with this, and this is nice, you got the Queen of Cups here and the Two of Cups. And I'm holding these two together because, like I had mentioned with the disc, you got two cups here, and they are going to amplify each other. Let me get you out of the signal here, but they're going to amplify each other. And with the Queen of Cups, and again, this could represent a person, could represent you. I feel like this is what you want to embody, because the Prince or the Queen of Cups, she's influenced, and you would think she's impressionable by the influence of other cards, and you would think that would be a bad thing, but she takes that energy and then she calms it. Everything becomes still. So I feel like I feel like with you this week, I feel like this is, you're kind of taking on this. I feel like this is asking you to, be with it. She doesn't ignore, I like to think she doesn't ignore when something, when there's a chance for some mindfulness, she's not going to put it in the back burner. She's like, okay, I see you, Three of Swords, and now I'm going to blend you into this background. I'm going to make you a part of my scenery here, because I see you've served your purpose. Now it's time to get back to calm. And I think that's what with this Two of Cups here, it could represent love coming in. Maybe you're sad about a love situation, but I like to think of the Two of Cups as especially with the Queen being here, I think this is asking you to take care of yourself. Make sure that you're loving yourself, that you're being kind to yourself. And I feel like there's always this need. I feel like when someone like wrongs you or something, people are telling you, show compassion for this for everyone else. But there's really no one saying that, like a lot of saying, show compassion for yourself. And I think that's what I get with this Two of Cups here. I really feel like this is asking you, for some of you, the abundance is there. Your Ace of Disc is there, but yeah, I feel like once you get through that Three of Swords, past that Three of Swords, whatever's bringing you that sorrow, something's, got you out of balance. This is one of Libra's cards. I think this is Saturn in Libra. So maybe it's just like it's taking too much time. There's been like a delay or something. You're just like, I want it now. Don't worry, it's coming. In the meantime, be patient. The Prince of Disc, he gives me very patient vibes, perseverance vibes. In the meantime, focus on you. And I know that's hard. Sometimes it's just like with the stress of like bills and rent, and if you got a car, you got bus fare, just all the things that can weigh you down, and then it just like you don't feel like you have time to get these Nine of Discs. You feel like you might be living paycheck to paycheck or whatever. But I think that if we really take the time to focus on self-care, that's really what I'm getting with some of you. It's time to you're a hard worker. It's not laziness to rest. It's not. You're the future will still be there. Right now, be in the present. Really assess, like, when was the last time you told you loved yourself? This is Venus in Cancer, and so take it from a Cancer. This is loving yourself it's beautiful. It's a really nice thing, and I feel like that's going to, when you channel that for some of you, that's going to help you get through to your Ace of Disc, to that Nine of Disc. I think that's really what I'm getting intuitively here. This is kind of an easy read, Capricorn. I wish you'd make it a little bit harder. I'm kidding. No, but this is really nice. Self-care for some of you. Never, you do your best work when you're rested, and you get a fresh mind, but if you're always like, if you, wear yourself out too thin, no bueno for anyone. Now, for some others, I have on the, did I say the left-hand side? I totally meant right-hand side. Oof, it's early. So for some others, I pulled on the left-hand side. You have the Three of Cups, the Hierophant, and the Four of Wands. So with these here, with this three of Cups, I do feel like for some of you there's this abundance coming in fast, and I feel like whatever it could be these finances, and I say it's coming in fast just because it's Mercury in Cancer, but I feel like this is it really kind of relates to the other one. I feel like this is saying that, taking that time to focus on your feelings. Cups have to deal with like emotional things, kind of the emotional side of things. But I feel like this is, if you kind of take that time to do some Two of Cups action, I think that your abundance is going to come in fast. And with the cups, the cups, whatever abundance looks like for you, this could be, this could be finances, it could be love, whatever that looks like for you in that moment. And then you have the Hierophant here. Again, I think that's, it's kind of doubling down on this guy here. This is, the Hierophant's about, this is Taurus's card. This is about patience, perseverance, divine wisdom. The Hierophant is, I like the Hierophant. He could also be, I don't know, maybe if some of you, have, you're, really starting to see this Ace of Discs, maybe some of you might be becoming a teacher, possibly, or maybe looking for a teacher. The Hierophant can also represent, I think he represents kind of like higher learning, or just kind of, just kind of anything to advance yourself, intellectually. That's at least kind of what I'm getting here. I don't quite read him like that all the time. Mainly I feel like more so here, you know what too? Yeah, but I feel like more so here, it could be a couple things here. I just got something here where it's also, only because of this Mercury being in Cancer, I feel like it's saying don't rush your abundance. that's kind of what I'm getting here as well with this Three of Cups. It just sort of popped in my head talking about the Hierophant. And that's only because he's patient. But I do think that you get to this Four of Wands here, and the Four of Wands is about completion. This is about trying to figure out how to use your knowledge, the knowledge that you've acquired, and efficiently. I feel like a good way of explaining that. It's but it's ultimately it's about completion, getting settlement, resting. Again, I feel like both features are kind of asking you to, it's gonna come. It's gonna come, but now you've worked, you've done the work. Now rest a little bit. Sit down. You make me nervous. At least that's what my grandma used to say. And yeah, I think that's what this is. That's what this is kind of saying here. This is you're getting ready to get. It's gonna get there. Just chill. It's gonna be all right. Don't. Sometimes if we rush the process, you really don't get to appreciate it once it comes to completion. It's just like it's sort of like just happened, and then you're like, oh well, now what? And I think that I feel like this is trying to tell you to just enjoy the process, the goods and the bads. There's going to be there might be some Three of Swords along the way. Usually there's usually something along the way, but those are times for mindfulness. That's all. Yes, I like that, Capricorn. I feel like that's pretty, as far as like future stuff, the message I'm ultimately getting, patience and self-care. those are your highlights for the week, which is again, you're rubbing your stuff in people's faces. So we're gonna move to the where your head might be at. You have the Six of Wands, the Nine of Swords, and the Adjustment card. So yeah, with this with the Six of Wands, this is about victory. This is about victory after struggles. This is balance. I like this. This could also represent love as well, and I think it'd be love for what you do is what I'm kind of feeling for this. This is you, and it really kind of doubles down here what I was talking about with enjoying, not rushing your abundance. I feel like this is here too. This is saying this is about this is a card of small victories, to celebrate in those. It's not always about the Ace of Disc, the Nine of Disc. I gotta get, let's put it like this. Sometimes, if I'm trying to make $1 million, I'm not gonna diminish the fact that if I got $1 one day and then I got $5 one day. I'm not gonna diminish the fact that I got $1 because that's sure it's small, but it's a victory nonetheless. It's got me one step closer to my $1 million. Would I rather do it 100 at a time, 1,000 at a time? Absolutely. But again, someone gives me $1, I'm not going to turn away no dollar because that's silly. And that's kind of what I'm getting here. I feel like this is, maybe you're trying to figure out how to enjoy that, try to find the love in this process. Because what I got here with this Nine of Swords, the Nine of Swords, oh, you probably can't see anything with that glare. The Nine of Swords is, I don't know, that's a weird, the swords have to deal with intellectual matter, so it usually has something to be in your head. The Nine of Swords is kind of about hopelessness, worry, mental anguish, kind of like, I feel like fear of loss, this is, I feel like this is you're worried, in those first, so your Three of Swords might have possibly is evolving into a Nine of Swords, and I don't think it needs to be that. Maybe you're not appreciating these small victories, and it's coming across as like it's not coming fast enough, but I don't think that that's the case. I feel like this is hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Before I go to explain that further, with this Adjustment card, I think that that's very appropriate that you have that here, because I think it's trying to find that balance of I don't think you should ever ignore something, because if something's on your head, it should be something to consider, but it's just like how much time are you focusing on that. I think that it's so easy to dwell in the negative. How often do we dwell in the positive? And I think it's the Adjustment card is about finding that balance. Now, it could also be to, maybe you have to dealing with something with like legal matters, marriage, divorce, things like that. But it's either way, I think that this is, you know, let me not be glib on that. Let me go a little bit into that as far as like the marriage and stuff goes. If this is love involved, um, I feel like if that's the case, whether it's a marriage or a divorce, I feel like it's to under it's just under I feel like this here is just understanding that balance between the it's almost like kind of like extremes here. You have like yay victories, like little things like whoop whoop, and then here you're just like, oh my god, everything's burning. Why is it like my swords are bleeding? What's happening? And I think that this is just like, yo, chill. Everything's gonna be okay. The everything always it the universe is always balancing itself. So yeah, and I think it's just telling you. I feel like here this is just like allow yourself to find that balance, and I think that's gonna come when you take that time to you know you've already taken your steps towards. I feel like most of you have taken the steps towards the abundance. Now it's time to get your head in the right place, balance out that, don't get too caught up in this Nine of Swords so that you can appreciate it when your Nine of Disc evolves into that Ace of Disc. That's but I hope that makes sense, Capricorn. That's kind of what I'm getting. That's what I'm feeling with this over here, with this bottom left. All the other ones have been kind of hard. Yours is this is a really good reading, Capricorn. I'm excited for you this week. I'm curious to see what stories you'll have to come back with. Now let's get to how your higher self is coming in. This is some cool stuff too. So I feel like with the with the Hierophant, with your higher self, you Hierophant, you have the Aeon card, the Hanged Man, and the Three of Wands. Ooh, I think I'm gonna start doing that. I like how I did that. You know what? We're keeping it. We're keeping it like this. So with this Aeon card, this signifies like something is coming to a close. I think that this is just sort of this. I like to think of the Aeon card as sort of like it's kind of like verifying the reading. This is just like, yo, this is happening, and you're going to get to that closure. There is this there's a resolution. This also can represent definitive action as well. Like as opposed to I'm gonna see this thing through. I'm gonna start it and finish it. So that's kind of what I get with the Aeon card here. That's I think that ties in nicely. Once you start this, it gets to that perseverance, so that you can get back to that closure, and then start maybe potentially start something else. Maybe again, start another. If you're starting that passive income, when I was talking about that earlier, maybe start more projects. I feel like if it's any way to, if you're trying to better the world with this gift that you're bringing, and sharing this abundance, and figuring out how to, how that's going to help humanity. I feel like this is, this is telling you, just to follow through. You got this. And I think that this is saying, the hanged man is, he represents like redemption through sacrifice. But he also represents, he can represent like pain, punishment and loss, and like, but I feel like more so he's about new perspectives. He's, I like to think of him. I made a reference to someone else had another sign had pulled the Hanged Man with the King of Wands, and I had referred to him as, this is what happens when you King of Wands something. You take this big energy and then you don't take it anywhere. It's just sort of this aimless energy. And so now it's time. You've been going. Now like the universe is forcing you to stop. It's like, okay, this is it's time to come at it. You need to, what you've been doing is not working. It's time to come at it from a new angle. This is kind of like freshening things up. It's like, oh wow, it's like I was saying with the how you put on your clothes and stuff. Look at that. It's from the universe's thoughts out of my mouth. This is this is perfect. I think that is saying that you need to come at something to get here. It might, for some of you, I feel like this is telling you to come at it with a new perspective. Don't be stubborn. I feel like this is the Prince of Disc doesn't really have to me, he's not a negative guy. Like the most negative thing I could say about him is that like he might come across a little dull. But he's like, I mean, if being responsible is dull, I'm not gonna, that's silly. He's just very about his stuff. He's about his paper, and he's nothing's gonna interfere with his abundance. So I think that this is saying to don't be too stubborn in your ways. The hangman, why suffer to get and I don't want to say suffer, but like why if you don't have to sacrifice, if it's not need for redemption, then I say try to take the lighter route, but sometimes this is necessary. Sometimes it has to be an extreme has to happen for you to stop and to reevaluate. So for some, this might resonate for some of you, depending on where you're at, but I think that with this hanged man, I think it's time to ultimately I'm getting a stronger feeling of come at something with a different perspective, and that's kind of that works out nicely with this Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is like it's another card, kind of success after struggles, establishing strength. Where do you find virtuous? This is also kind of like this card can also be like the realization of hope. This is Aries in the sun. So I feel like, the sun in Aries. So I feel like this is, you know what? This allows you for Aries to lie in the sun. Some of you might have Aries in your chart. But I feel like this is about, what do you hold virtue and then going towards that, with this sun in Aries. So, pretty solid reading, Capricorn. I really like this. Let me get back so you can see me. So yeah, that's what I have for you here. Thanks for showing up. Please like, share, subscribe, and for a clearer picture of you, because you are more than your sun sign. Check your moon, rising, and I challenge you to check your Mercury too. And I only say that because that'll kind of lead me into this next segment. Which I'm calling what did I end up? I think we're going with Celestial News Weekly. That's what I'm going with, and I think that's what I'm gonna call it with Justin Morris. Sorry, that'll be tailored, I promise. But a couple of things. What Celestial News Weekly is what's going on in the universe right now, planet wise. So. Couple things. Yesterday, Pluto went direct on the 8th, so that's a time for bringing the truth to light. This is I don't have a card for that, but this is about bringing truth. You don't got to worry about that. But I don't have this is about bringing truths to light. So anything that you might not have been dealing with, you kind of put in like you kind of have some of those things. It's just like I can't. I'll deal with you later. Well, this is later. So. That's one thing. Today on the 9th is going to be full moon in Aries. So again, this is another time to either, if let's say if you haven't gotten started on this Nine of Discs, you're still kind of getting that in your head. This is a good time to start stuff. The full moon in Aries, it'll be in Aries for, the moon stays in the sign for roughly 2.5 days, roughly. So this might be a good time to, even if you don't start it per se, just start taking steps. It's sometimes you can get to this point. I know I sometimes I'm guilty of it. It's like you'll set these goals and then it'll be so lofty and then you won't start anything. And then it's just a goal. It's just a vision board, but I haven't done anything yet. So I think that's what the full moon in Aries. It gives that kind of inspiration to kind of start things off. And then lastly, and this is why I mentioned checking out your Mercury, because there's going to be Mercury in Libra on the 10th. So, which is great for, well, depending on what shift you work, if, for your job, I don't think it moves into Libra until like about 7, 10 to 8 or so in the evening. So it still might be like a Monday, but this is a time where, Mercury's about communication, Libra's about balance. Balanced communication, who doesn't want that? I know sometimes I'll be serving up word salad. So if I can get this in order, absolutely, I'm all for it. I think Mercury in Libra is going to be an exciting time. Last bit of news, retrogrades. And I think I'm gonna keep these a little bit short. I won't be doing retrogrades like every week, but it'll just be like celestial events. We have, now that Pluto's gone direct, we have just 4 planets in retrograde, which is cool. But retrograde time, for those of you who don't know, retrograde is, or at least how I like to think about it is, this is a time for introspection. Really, retrogrades can be seen as this like, retrograde. It's not that bad. For example, you have Jupiter in retrograde. That rules the 9th and 11th houses, Sagittarius and Pisces. And that has to do with matters of spirituality and expansion of consciousness. Jupiter's is big energy, fortune, all that good stuff. But with Jupiter going to retrograde, this is like a time to focus on that, to kind of go inside and really think about your spiritual matters. Do I have anything here? Yes. No. Oh, yes. This is the time to, just I feel like to kind of be with yourself. This is a time for growth, to kind of attain that divine wisdom, if you will. Get it from, and I know this is Taurus, but I don't think I have anything Jupiter related here at the moment. I don't, which is fine. But Jupiter's got your back. I think this is a time to think about philosophical for philosophical growth and personal, on a personal level is what I cannot wait for Mercury to get in Libra. I'm a Gemini moon, so sometimes it feels like you got 2 voices talking to you at once. You're all trying to get your thoughts out, getting these details here. It's silly. It may not be. That sounds a little never mind. Next, Saturn is in retrograde as well. Oh, Jupiter retrograde ends on the 23rd, by the way. And then you got Saturn retrograde, which is ending this month on the 22nd of October. That Saturn's your ruler, and it rules Aquarius as well, which is 10th and 11th house. And Saturn is about time, wisdom, responsibility, and karma. And during the retrograde time, this is a time to like slow things down, kind of reevaluate. Just kind of reevaluate some circumstances. If you had something where it's like, this thing keeps happening to me. Like, it feels like every time, like, how did I end up in this situation again? I was just here last week. This is the time to, well, why did you end up here again? Like, at some point, you know what it is. You just have to ask the question. So that's kind of what Saturn does. Uranus is in retrograde. Oh, I'm going to need my notes because I don't remember when it ends yet. Oh, yeah, it's going into like the next year. Uranus ends January 22nd, so just get comfortable. But it's honestly, that's one of they're all good retro. I feel like they're all pretty solid retrogrades, but Uranus in particular, Uranus rules over Aquarius. It's in the 11th house. It shares with Saturn. And that's about like surprises, innovation, revolution, liberation. Did I say liberation? We're saying it again. But this is about time for like voluntary change. When Uranus comes in, when it's like, I feel like when it's normally indirect, Uranus is the type, this is the analogy that I've been using. You imagine your family's kind of sitting at a dinner table, and then, you got everything laid out, it's nice, and Uranus is just like, I don't like any of that, and it just flips the table. Whereas it's just like, no, you got to change all this. Whereas when it's in retrograde, this it's still asking you for that change, but it's like giving you the option to. It's not coming in so fast. It's just like tugging the tablecloth. So that gives you time to like rearrange. Like, oh, okay, we're moving here. Let's do this. Let's do that. Hey, grab all this stuff. So that's kind of what Uranus retrograde's about. Lastly, Neptune being in retrograde. It'll be in retrograde until the end of the year, the 3rd of December. And it's in retrograde, I want to say like 40% of the time. Don't quote me on that. But I feel like 40% of the year, Neptune's in retrograde. And all that means is, I should tell you a little bit about it. It rules over Pisces, 12th house. If you didn't know this stuff. If you know this stuff, you're the bomb. And you probably tell me a little bit more about it. But this is about like imaginations, the astral realm. Everything's very dreamy, illusions. That's Neptune's energy. It's they say it's like an octave higher from Venus, so it's feminine energy, and which makes sense because in retrograde, it's kind of like lifting the veil over your eyes, kind of like what illusions have we been kind of telling ourselves. It's kind of like taking that faulty reasoning, whether we've been here we go. Now I got some stuff. Now we got some cards. Whether illusion is like a 3 of Swords, like something you might be kind of bummed out about something, worried about a thing, or if you're thinking about like a loss or things aren't quite going like it should. It's kind of it's like gently like, listen, I hear you, 9 of Swords. This is nice, but we're gonna put that down here. It's okay. Neptune's got your back. It's gonna do like it's not gonna blindside you like Uranus. It's going to lift the veil very gently. So yeah, that's I appreciate it. If you hung around, I'm gonna pull a surprise card at the bottom of the deck. Ace of Wands. I love the Ace of Wands. This is my card for if I need any kind of verification for anything. As far as like direction, this is just like, this is a root of fire. This is I like to look at the aces as kind of like the seed that you're planting. This is, you're getting that. I feel like you're kind of coupling this here. You're sort of like, you're planting this, you planted your Ace of Disc, and then you planted it with this. This is your fuel to get for that Ace of Disc, and it's just gonna grow and grow and grow. This is a tree that's growing here. I see it. You can't see it, but that was a tree that grew. So yeah, that's what I see. Coming at the bottom of the deck. This is I feel like taking that energy, going forward, and persevering. Keep that Hierophant. I feel like keep that Hierophant and that Prince of Disc in mind. And I think that this Ace of Wands, your Ace of Disc, this 9 of Disc, it's gonna be Gucci, fam. But yeah, that's literally all I have for you. Let's keep raising the vibration, and I will catch you on the next one. Later.